Hey, what's up, boys? This is Moonchild of Dude No Way, and today we are covering all of the exotics we know are coming out with Beyondlight and what builds we might use with them. Let's go! I wanted to quickly remind you guys that we do stream every Monday and Tuesday night from 9 p.m. to midnight over on Twitch, so come over and check us out live, and you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search Dude No Way Gaming. So a few weeks back, Bungie released their weapons and gear trailer for Beyondlight, which shows off all of the exotic weapons and the exotic armor that's coming out, and let me tell you something, boys, it's spicy. This stuff is looking super dope. I can't wait to get my hands on some of these things. I'm gonna go ahead and play the trailer now, and if you've already seen it, you can skip to the timestamp on screen, but you should really watch it again because there's a lot of things that you miss if you only watch it one time through. Here we go.
Guardian, crush them. Triple down. Relax, Guardian. You're scaring them.
That was sick, right? Boys, I cannot tell you how excited I am for the November 10th release. When they first announced that they were delaying the September release, I thought, well, you know, it's just 2 months, that ain't that bad, but literally every day leading up to this, my anticipation and hype levels are skyrocketing. I'm telling you, it can't come soon enough. I mean, the sheer amount of diversity, new mods, ghost mods, new subclasses, new exotics. I'm gonna be coming up with new builds in my mind that I'm dying to try out like every single day. I love classes and builds most about any game. I like things that work together with extreme synergy, and dudes, some of the exotics we're about to get look absolutely insane. I'm really excited to try out a few of these. No spoilers though, we'll get to my thoughts in the same order of the Bungie trailer, which of course means we're starting with the No Time to Explain pulse rifle. No Time to Explain is a returning weapon from Destiny 1, and it used to give you ammo back for every headshot you hit, which effectively meant it could have unlimited ammo if you're hitting only crits. I actually made a video on this weapon versus the Black Spindle as a DPS test back in Destiny 1 on an older channel of mine, and Black Spindle was way out in front in terms of damage, boys, which makes sense because it's not a primary, but that's not to say that the No Time to Explain was a bad gun. It wasn't. It had a respectable time to kill, decent recoil direction, it wasn't too difficult to land consistent headshots with it, but it never really shined, at least not to my knowledge. No Time to Explain never really got its chance to have a spotlight as a truly meta weapon. Fast forward to Beyondlight, and this thing is looking insane, dude. The exotic perk states, precision hits and hits against enemies affected by stasis will return ammo to the magazine. Stack this effect to summon a portal which will fire bullets from an alternate timeline of the weapon. Now, can we just take a second to appreciate how dope it is that the portal it summons is the gun from an alternate timeline? That's sick, dude. We're still getting the ammo back on precision hits, which I think is good because it maintained the feel of the weapon as it was, but really just kicked it up to 11. And that seems to be a running theme with a few of these exotics. Bungie's really going all in on this stuff, dudes. And the build I most want to use the No Time to Explain with is Bottom Tree Stormcaller with the Getaway Artist exotic gloves. The perk Arc Soul from the subclass makes your rifts spawn a little lightning turret that fires on your enemies when they're within a certain range. It doesn't deal a lot of damage, but it definitely helps get kills. But combining that with the Getaway Artist gloves means you're going to have a supercharged Arc Soul every time you consume your grenade or toss down a rift. So you see where I'm going with this, boys? We're gonna use our Arc Soul from the subclass in addition to the portal from No Time to Explain to smack fools with free damage. If the portal functions anything like the Arc Soul, its bullets are going to be homing, which means every single time someone is stupid enough to engage with you, it's going to be like they're getting shot by 3 people at the same time. Imagine how much flinch that's going to give. Hell, imagine how insanely frustrating that's going to be to play against. I can't wait. Definitely looking forward to this. Next up on the list is the Cloudstrike exotic sniper rifle. The perk states, precision final blows will generate lightning bolts at the targeted location. Rapid precision shots will summon an entire storm at the point of impact. And to me, I know this is a trailer, so the speed may be off or sped up, but to me, it looks like this thing might have snapshot based on the speed they're able to aim down sights. The lightning bolt that it summons could be good in PvP. I mean, we have no way of knowing whether or not the guardians around the dude who got headshot were actually weak or not. But if it functions anything like Firefly from Ace of Spades, it'll probably deal somewhere around 90-ish damage, which is like less than half of your total health. But there have definitely been times where Ace of Spades gifted me kills on guys who were weak and nearby, so I have to assume this functions in a similar way. The fact that rapid precision shots, not kills, create an entire storm could mean that this weapon actually has a place in raids and dungeons if, and only if, the storm created deals a hefty chunk of damage. If the storm is weak, and the gun doesn't come with some good perks, I could see this not being that good. If the storm is crazy good though, this thing could wind up giving Whisper of the Worm a run for its money. We'll just have to wait and see how it pans out. The next weapon featured is the exotic sword, the Lament. The perk states, a mortal blade, a stalwart shield. Block with the Lament to rev the blade, then shred through shielded enemies. At its peak, damaging an enemy will heal the wielder. And this was a weird one for me because just this past season, they brought back the exotic swords from Destiny 1 as legendaries. Temptation's Hook, and most especially Falling Guillotine, are both really good. Guillotine is probably going to be one of the highest DPS weapons in the entire game, even after it gets nerfed with the release of this DLC. And the other thing is, who the hell is having trouble destroying barriers? Are barriers getting a buff in Beyondlight that we don't know about? Because let's be real, boys. Fucking barriers aren't that hard to chew through. The weapons we already have do a fine job of destroying barrier champion shields, and this, because it's a sword, is forcing you to aggress on them while they can still shoot you. Blocking with this better absorb 100% of the damage because in GM Nightfalls, walking up on a barrier champion who can fire on you as you approach seems like a cute way to get one shot. Don't get me wrong, I like the look of the sword. It looks sexy as hell. I mean, look at that chainsaw blade. Look at those gorgeous new sword animations. But be honest with yourself. You really need another option to break barriers with? I'd wager probably not. So unless this sword deals a crazy amount of damage or is able to fully absorb all the shots coming at you by blocking, I doubt this will realistically be a very popular choice. Pretty as hell, but kinda dumb. Not sorry. The next exotic to take a look at is the Icefall Mantle. The perk says, stand tall against oncoming hordes with this reinforced armor that replaces the Titan's barricade with an overshield, absorbing damage from incoming fire. And depending on the strength of the overshield, this could be an extremely strong option in PvP. But if we're going to be realistic about how competitive an option it actually is, this is just a worse version of the Hunter exotic Wormhusk crown. And I see them doing a similar thing in the amount of health the overshield gives you is probably about the same as the amount of health returned from Wormhusk when a hunter dodges. But the thing about Wormhusk is that it happens on the fly and forces you to change the way you engage. It forces you to adapt real time in the middle of a gunfight. This is activated before the gunfight, and it's clearly visible on the Titan's health bar, which means you can make active decisions to fight through their overshield before engaging on them fully in a one-on-one gunfight. You can pop shot them once or twice, retreat, and then take the fight only when the Titan no longer has the overshield. It's not going to happen as much as you think in the middle of fights. The animation is going to get you killed. But the Hunter Wormhusk instantly gives you health and allows you to reposition yourself. And if the amount of health this shield gives you is a ton, this is going to be one of the top new meta options for Titans in PvP. This is going to be especially useful to pop before you activate your roaming super. And the new Titan Stasis super looks pretty insane, so in that scenario it may end up being a top tier pick or something you switch to. But if it's what I expect it to be, this is going to be a middle of the road exotic that will inevitably be outshined by Dune Marchers. It all depends on how strong that overshield is. Next up is my favorite exotic coming to us with Beyondlight, the Mask of Bakris. The perk's text reads, don the mask to replace the hunter's dodge ability with a longer range shift ability that also temporarily cloaks the wearer during use. And in my opinion, this is the sexiest looking exotic I've seen yet. Not just the perk, but the look of the helmet, my guys. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love the aesthetic of this piece. It has an evil look about it, and I just can't get enough. The thing about this exotic that makes me wonder, though, is the way the trailer is making it seem like it's the hunter version of a horizontal blink. But the text kind of conflicts with that because it says it cloaks the wearer during use. If it were a real teleport ability, you wouldn't need to be cloaked. In the split second of your teleport, you would simply cease to exist in the position you were in. The fact that it cloaks you makes me believe you're going to be invisible during the dodge animation, which is significantly less cool than a horizontal blink. I can't speak for console because I only play PC, but over here in mouse and keyboard land, being invisible in PvP doesn't net you diddly squat. You go invisible in PvP, and sprinting puts you on the radar, activating an ability jump does too, and that's not even touching the fact that the light from your special weapons remains visible to enemies while you're cloaked. It does. And we're running at 150 frames on $500 monitors. We can see you, bro. Invis is next to useless on PC. And if that's what this gives, then it's going to be an exotic that sees a lot of use at first and then falls to the wayside for more competitive options like Stompies. But, and this is a big but, if this exotic is, in fact, a horizontal blink, I'm going to use it to dumpster every person I see for the next several months to come. Movement in Destiny is the main thing that separates top-tier players from the rest of the pack. Crazy aim and game sense will only take you so far. Being able to effectively utilize your movement capabilities, especially with exotics like Stompies, Transversive Steps, Dune Marchers, and now the Mask of Bakris, if it ends up being a teleport-style dodge, is going to take your gameplay to another level. Movement is key. I'm eager to play around with it and see what it actually does. As I said, this is my favorite new exotic coming with Beyondlight because of the massive potential it has. It may not be as good as I hope it will. The wording on Bungie.net really makes it seem like a simple cloaked dodge. The trailer gives me hope though. And what the hell, a man can dream, right? The next exotic is Athrys' Embrace, which reads, the hunter's weighted knife gains a second ricochet. Rapid precision hits gain a damage bonus and can temporarily stagger enemies. I'm calling it right now, dudes. This exotic is probably going to suck. A second ricochet on the weighted knife? When you Hail Mary a knife, you shouldn't be relying on the ricochet to do the job. Just throw it at the guy. Having a second ricochet is dumb to me. And like, what I really want to know is, who asked for this? Who was sitting around like, damn, I definitely would have gotten that 7th column if my weighted knife only had a second ricochet? Literally nobody. The aim assist on the knife got nerfed pretty hard not that long ago, and hitting consistent headshots with it is unreliable at best. If these gloves don't give back some of the knife's aim assist, I can really see this becoming something no one uses, pretty much ever, except for maybe montage clips. The fact that it has a stacking damage increase for precision hits is weird too, because if you use it, and it doesn't actually kill the guy, now you no longer have a charged melee, you can't throw a knife. So for PvE, this exotic is going to force you to use the knife on smaller enemies to build up that damage buff, and then maybe you'll be able to one-hit a major with it? And how are you going to spin this to be better than a Phidias Spathe? I feel like a second knife charge would always be better than one, with a damage buff that you may or may not actually be able to activate. I can tell you right now, these gloves will definitely not be meta. At first glance, it seems like it's going to struggle just to be a C-tier option, and you can color me unimpressed here. Next up is the Dawn Chorus helmet for the Warlock, and this one I actually have pretty high hopes for. The perk states, "Feel that sweet burn. The Warlock's Daybreak projectiles deal extra damage and cause enemies to burn on contact. Gain melee energy each time a burn damages a target." And the main reason I want to see this exotic in action is because I would love to know if you can use it to one-shot other roaming supers. Like, how much extra damage we talking? How much does that burn deal? These are the things I can't wait to find out. The fact that it gives you melee energy back each time something burns means that your grenade, your melee, and your super will all be recharging your melee when they deal damage, which could be super sick for Top Tree Dawnblade and the Celestial Fire melee. And that's assuming, of course, that it gives a decent chunk back each time. If it does, and if it lets you one-hit other supers while Daybreak is active, I could legitimately see this becoming a top-tier pick. The fact that it buffs the neutral game and the super is huge. Daybreak could become the dueling super in the months to come. Being able to be high in the sky in relative safety is a giant advantage. The fact that it works well for both top and bottom tree Dawnblade is also huge, because bottom tree has been fully outclassed for a while now. And I still think it is, but the tracking on the Daybreak projectiles from the subclass could allow you to best make use of this exotic. Even if you don't direct impact them, the splash damage from the sword combined with the burn could be the difference in a lot of cases between getting a kill and watching the guy walk away with 5 hit points left. Like I said, I have high hopes for this one, and I can't wait to damage test it. Next, we move on to the other exotic armor piece that I'm most excited about, another Warlock piece called Necrotic Grip. The perk reads, "A Deadly Caress, Compounded. Melee attacks corrupt enemies with increasing damage over time. Defeating a corrupted combatant spreads the corruption to nearby targets and restores melee energy." And bro, I cannot wait to use this. Necrotic Grip is right up my alley. A stacking poison damage over time on melees is sweet, but pairing it with the ranged melee trees like Top Tree Dawnblade and Middle Tree Stormcaller is going to take this effect to another level. I plan to use it with Dawnblade, and the idea behind the build I want to make will be firing Celestial Fire into a group of enemies in PvP, and then detonating them with Thorn, which will spread the damage over time to everyone close by and hopefully catch me a lot of multi-kills. The reason Celestial Fire is my pick is because only a single fireball from the volley of 3 will have to connect to apply the poison effect from the exotic. Realistically, you could tag multiple enemies at the same time, and I'll be stacking that with Thorn for maximum douche factor. The damage over time from this build is going to be oppressive, and I plan to use it to devastating effect as soon as I get my hands on it. The fact that it gives melee energy back is icing on the cake. Unless the poison damage sucks balls, this is going to wind up being one of my favorite builds in the entire game, I can tell you right now. Now we move on to the Titan exotic, Precious Scars. The perk states, "Prove your strength, even when coming back from the brink." Upon revives, the Titan gains an overshield aura that protects the wearer and nearby allies. And what this looks like to me is that when you revive someone, you're probably going to get a shared bit of overshield that stays active either until the shield is depleted, 5 to 10 seconds pass, or one of the nearby allies moves outside of the link range. I can see this being good, but not great. Revives are already extremely strong. You already get an overshield, they barely take any time at all, and getting one revive a lot of times is the deciding factor in a round. I really don't think revives needed to be buffed, but that being said, I don't think this will be powerful enough to stop an aggressive frame sniper from headshotting someone who was just revived either. This may force you to change though. If you're running an adaptive or rapid fire frame, this overshield may be enough to stop you from putting someone back down when their Titan teammate picks them up. I also fully expect this exotic will have a very short range and won't go through walls like Dune Marcher's Lightning does. I would expect about a 10 to 15 meter range, and beyond that, the link will probably break and render it useless. Obviously, this will only be useful for PvP and revive game modes, but it could have some interesting effect in raids, allowing you to survive certain mechanics that would otherwise one-shot you. Overall, I'm predicting this will be a C-tier exotic, and I doubt we'll be seeing a lot of people rocking it. Our final exotic that we're covering today is the Salvation's Grip grenade launcher. The text states, "Redemption is within your grasp. Each fired projectile will create stasis crystals that will freeze nearby targets. Charge to increase the amount of crystals created and the freeze radius." So this is our ice version of the Scorch Cannon. Basically, you're going to charge it up and launch it on people or mobs, which will freeze them in place. This is an extremely interesting exotic because of the amount of things coming that will activate after you shatter an enemy. The amount of cool builds I can make with this pretty much hinges on that alone. What perks and mods will we get that gives us buffs when we shatter frozen targets? I'm anticipating a few different effects per class, which will lead to a lot of cool builds both in PvE and in PvP, and being able to outright freeze people in PvP is going to piss a lot of people off, which means it's probably going to be super fun for us as the person using it. I can see this being a top tier pick if it comes with something like spike grenades or the charged damage winds up being really good. It could be great boss DPS, but in reality it will probably just make for some super sick ad clear, which a lot of guns are good at, but now we're doing it with stasis, space freeze, cosmic ice, whatever you want to call it. I guarantee this will be fun to use and you'll definitely see it featured here on the channel eventually. And that concludes the list of exotics that we know are coming in Beyondlight. Which one of these are you most excited about? Tell me all about it and which builds you plan to use with it down in the comments. Maybe you thought of something I didn't. If you enjoyed this content, please remember to leave a like so YouTube's algorithm will share it around to find people like yourself. Just a reminder once again that we do stream every Monday and Tuesday night from 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern time on Twitch, so come catch me live while I cook up new build ideas and meme on unsuspecting blueberries. And thank you very much for watching. I am Moonchild of Dude No Way, and I will see you in the next video.